Inspiring millionaire discovers amazing secret at home. Heartwarming act by housekeeper revealed. Jamie Carter swirled through her Instagram feed, a curated collection of perfection: a sunny backyard barbecue, happy kids eating ice cream, and a husband who only glanced at her from the corner of the photo but still looked gloriously handsome. The comments poured in. People used phrases like goals and dinner envy. But behind that polished facade, Jamie felt a void stretching inside her. The pressure to keep that dream alive was relentless, the fear of slipping back to obscurity like icy fingers wrapped around her heart. The extravagant charity gala was just days away. Her online business had never been more successful, but with success came scrutiny. What if her brand failed to shine? As she tapped away at the details, her housekeeper Rosa appeared quietly in the corner, her worn hands clutching a freshly laundered pile of clothes. Jamie's sights flicked away from the screen momentarily, catching a glimpse of Rosa's weary smile, an unwavering beacon in Jamie's orchestrated chaos. Rosa was everything Jamie was: a single mother juggling 2 jobs, living paycheck to paycheck. One evening, while preparing for the gala, Jamie overheard Rosa on the phone, her voice trembling as she discussed bills and school supplies with someone who clearly couldn't help. It hit Jamie like a brick. The harsh contrast between their realities came crashing down on her. Here she was, drowning in luxury, while Rosa was sinking into an ocean of struggle. "Rosa, I had no idea," Jamie said one day, her heart tightened as she looked into her housekeeper's deep, tired eyes. The words poured out, unfiltered and raw. "Life isn't easy, Jamie," Rosa replied, a flicker of strength mixed with vulnerability in her voice. That moment woke something in Jamie, a realization that she could no longer ignore. As Rosa's story unfolded, Jamie learned of the grassroots initiatives she had founded, helping families access food and education, risks that made her heart race with admiration. But this new knowledge brought complications. An influential corporation, whose interests conflicted with Rosa's initiative, was beginning to threaten her work. They whispered that the charity was a folly, a pesky hindrance. "Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen." Now let's continue. Days turned into frantic wrangling between her extravagant plans for the gala and the budding friendship with Rosa. The charity event loomed ahead, but Jamie's heart thumped loudly for Rosa's cause. With every rumor swirling around them, it was time for her to make a choice. Does she hide under her glitzy facade, or does she stand up, risking everything to support Rosa? The climactic gala beckoned, dressed in black tie glamour, twinkling lights casting a warm glow, but underneath it all, Jamie felt the sharp pang of uncertainty. Would she attend, knowing it might come at a cost far greater than a dinner plate? How could she maintain her bubble when all she could think of was the woman who had opened her eyes? At that moment, as the room buzzed around her, Jamie stood at a precipice, the weight of hidden truths pressing down. With the community watching, the crossroads lay ahead. Would she embrace this turning point, or retreat into the glittering darkness that felt safe? The air thickened with anticipation, and everything hung in the balance. Jamie's heart raced as she glanced toward the room filled with elegantly dressed guests. Their laughter and chatter seemed miles away, a surreal contrast to the storm brewing in her chest. She could barely breathe, the choice weighing heavily on her, a choice that could alter the course of not only her life but Rosa's. In that moment of contemplation, she spotted Rosa across the room, her eyes darting nervously around the glitzy venue. For all Rosa's strength, she looked out of place, like a sunrise breaking through a darkened night. Jamie felt a tug in her gut. It was time to act. Rosa had shared her dreams and struggles, and Jamie wouldn't stand by while her friend's mission crumbled. Taking a deep breath, Jamie stepped away from the crowd. As she made her way toward Rosa, the noise faded, replaced by the pounding of her heart. "You can do this," she whispered to herself. "You have to do this." When Jamie reached Rosa, she found her fiddling with the strap of her purse, a hint of anxiety shadowing her expression. "You look beautiful tonight," Jamie said, genuine warmth swelling inside her. Rosa's eyes glimmered, but the lines on her forehead deepened. "It's hard to feel that way with so many eyes on me and everything happening with the charity." Jamie swallowed hard, remembering the tension in Rosa's voice during their late-night talks. What if we shared your story? Tonight?" Rosa looked startled, her mouth slightly agape. "Jamie, I don't want to make things worse. But your story is powerful," Jamie insisted, her voice steady, determined. "If we tell it, maybe people will listen. They can help. We can fight back against that corporation together." Rosa was quiet for just a moment, and time felt suspended in the weight of possibility. Hope flourished in the air, as delicate and fleeting as a dandelion seed on the breeze. Finally, she nodded, the whispers of fear giving way to something greater resolve. They strategized quietly as Jamie's eyes darted around the ballroom, noting the influential faces that filled the space. With Rosa by her side, Jamie felt emboldened. Their voices may have been small against the grandiosity of the gala, but together, they could create a ripple. With a determined nod from Rosa, Jamie knew their moment was coming. She could feel the stirring in her gut, like a kettle beginning to boil. Jamie straightened her back and led Rosa to the center of the room, confounding thoughts racing through her mind. Would they be met with open hearts, or cold shoulders? As the room buzzed with laughter and clinking glasses, Jamie called for attention. "Excuse me." Her voice pierced through the chatter, grabbing the attention of those present. Heads turned, and the air crackled. The moment was fragile but full of promise. "Tonight, I want to introduce someone who inspires me every day," Jamie began, her heart swelling. She took a breath and turned to Rosa, who looked both terrified and exhilarated. "This is Rosa. She has a story that needs to be heard, a journey of strength, perseverance, and hope." The crowd shifted slightly, curiosity evident as they leaned in, attentive. Jamie's heart raced as she watched Rosa step forward, her eyes shining with a mix of fear and courage. As Rosa started to speak, her voice softened yet resolute, Jamie felt the world around them fade away. It was time for truths to light the path ahead. But what would they reveal? Would the community support them, or would they be met with pushback? In the hushed silence that followed, all eyes were on Rosa. Every heart in the room began to pulse together, vibrating with anticipation. What would they hear next? What would it mean for both of their futures? Rosa took a deep breath, her hands trembling slightly. The words she had rehearsed in her mind now felt too heavy, too real. She glanced back at Jamie, who nodded encouragingly, her eyes bright with belief. With each flicker of a heartbeat, the electric silence pushed Rosa onward. "I stand here tonight, not just as someone hoping for change," Rosa began, her voice shaky but steadying. "I stand here because change is necessary." She surveyed the faces before her, the politicians, the philanthropists, all of them with the power to influence lives. Yet she felt the weight of their gaze like a physical pressure on her chest. "I never thought my story would matter," she continued, finding her footing. "I grew up in a neighborhood where opportunity was scarce, where dreams often seemed just that, dreams." Rosa's voice carried a tremor of vulnerability, and it didn't go unnoticed. Murmurs rippled through the crowd, and she pressed on. "But hope doesn't just appear. It's built, day by day, moment by moment." As she spoke, the ballroom around them seemed to shrink until it was just her and the truth she was sharing. Rosa talked about the struggles to keep her nonprofit afloat, the countless proposals sent to indifferent businessmen, and the closed doors she faced. Every hardship painted her journey in vivid strokes, her determination, her tears, her rage against the injustices that burdened the community she fought for. The audience was rapt, their expressions a mixture of empathy and intrigue. Jamie's heart swelled. This was the moment Rosa was meant to have. "I believe in the power of stories," Rosa declared, her voice rising with passion. "But they cannot remain hidden under the shadows of fear. Every person deserves the chance to be heard. Each story can ignite a difference." She glanced at one of the prominent donors standing at the edge of the room, a man rumored to write a check large enough to propel her dream forward. The thought both terrified and exhilarated her. What if he listened? Suddenly, a voice cut through the air. And what makes your story special? A man in a sharp suit challenged, his tone skeptical. The room seemed to hold its breath. Rosa's heart sank momentarily, but Jamie shot her a reassuring nod, and the spark of bravery rekindled. Because it's real, Rosa replied, her voice stronger now. I'm not just asking for money, I'm asking for your belief. Belief that the people you overlook are capable of incredible things if given the chance. And then the unexpected happened. Another guest, a woman with kind eyes and an aura of authority, stood up, stepping forward. I've been where you are, she said, her voice warm yet loud enough for the crowd to hear. Listen to this woman, she's right. We can't turn a blind eye to what's happening around us. Applause erupted, an unexpected wave of support that filled Rosa with warmth. She looked at Jamie, tears shimmering in both their eyes. This was a moment of unity, a glimpse of hope. But just as quickly as hope surged, doubt resurfaced in Rosa's mind. Would this be enough? Would the momentum carry on beyond this moment? As the room began to buzz with conversations and murmurs of support, the woman approached Rosa, her smile genuine. Let us talk further. Your mission matters. The crowd thickened around them, and suddenly opportunities blossomed. Yet amidst the rising excitement, Rosa felt a new weight pressing down, pressure to succeed, fear of failing her community again. The cheers ringing in her ears clashed with the old voices of doubt creeping back in. What if, after all this, they still couldn't break through the barriers that held their dreams hostage? With a sense of urgency burning inside her, Rosa glanced at Jamie, who looked like the embodiment of hope itself. They had taken the first step, but what would it cost? Would they be able to turn the tide, or would their dreams rise and fall like the tides? As that thought lingered in the air, the energy of the room shifted again. A shadow fell over the stage, and just then, someone else entered the spotlight, someone who could either help solidify their success or set them back further. Who was this new player, and what impact would they have on Rosa's mission? The murmurings grew louder as a tall figure stepped into the light. Rosa's heart raced. A well-known philanthropist, Lucas Hale, walked toward the stage. He was not just any donor, he had a reputation for being tough when it came to supporting causes. As he neared, the crowd quieted, all eyes fixated on him. It was as if time itself paused, holding its breath for what would happen next. Thank you, Rosa, he said, his voice booming and clear. I've heard plenty of pitches in my time, but yours struck a chord. He smiled, and for a moment, the ice of doubt that encased Rosa thawed. Could this really be happening? Your struggle? It's raw and real, Lucas continued. But struggle alone doesn't sell. I need to know how you plan to create change. Tell me what makes your organization different. His gaze fixed on her, unyielding, yet not unkind. Rosa opened her mouth, words ready to flow, but panic washed over her like ice water. She told her story, but now, the details of execution seemed to dance just outside her grasp. We focus on empowerment, she stuttered, grasping for her thoughts. We partner with local leaders. We harness the skills and voices of those directly impacted. Lucas raised an eyebrow, intrigued but still skeptical. And how do you measure success? What's your impact? Rosa took a moment, gathering her strength. Lives change, she said simply, feeling the truth ring inside her. When someone realizes their potential, it creates a ripple effect. It's beyond numbers, it's about futures. The room fell silent, but Rosa could feel the energy tingling like static electricity. There was something compelling about her words, a truth that seemed to hold everyone in thrall. I admire passion, Lucas admitted, nodding slightly, but passion needs a foundation. What do you have? Rosa could feel the tension in her chest tighten. The weight of expectation was almost crushing. Around her, murmurs flared again, questions, doubts, hopes, all mixed into a messy whirl that made it hard to breathe. From the periphery, she spotted Jamie, whose fierce determination shone through her worried expression. Lucas, Rosa started, feeling her courage building again. What if I show you? Come with me to our community this weekend. Meet the people you can help. See firsthand. We don't have fancy reports, but we have real stories. Her voice rang with conviction as she laid the invitation bare, wondering about the possibility of his acceptance. He looked taken aback for a moment, but a flicker of interest passed over his face. You're asking quite a lot. It's only a lot if you're not ready to experience something life-changing, she replied, surprising herself with her boldness. I'm not just asking for a check, I'm inviting you to be part of something transformative. The crowd started buzzing again, a mix of excitement and skepticism. Rosa turned to Jamie, who mouthed a silent yes. Then came the unmistakable smile of Lucas Hale, radiating charm and cleverness. All right, he said slowly, weighing his words. I'll accept your invitation. But let me make one thing clear, you better have something incredible waiting for me. The crowd erupted into applause, a wave of support that lifted Rosa high into the air. For the first time in ages, she felt a flicker of hope bravely shine against her fears. But even as that joy blossomed inside her, uncertainty crept back in. Would this be the opportunity that truly changed everything for her community? Or was this just another fleeting chance bound to fade? As Rosa's thoughts spiraled, Jamie took her arm and squeezed gently. Whatever happens, we're in this together, she whispered, grounding Rosa amidst the swirling doubts. Just then, Lucas's phone buzzed. He pulled it out, scanning whatever message had just popped up. His expression shifted, a flicker of alarm passing over his face. Excuse me, he said abruptly, before stepping aside to take the call, creating a sudden gap in the moment. The energy crackled with questions. What had pulled him away? Rosa found her breath hitching in her throat. What new challenge was waiting to surface now? In the stillness that followed, she wondered, would her moment of victory slip through her fingers before it even began? Rosa stood frozen for a moment, her heart pounding, as she watched Lucas step away to take the call. The sudden shift in atmosphere felt heavy and charged, like a brewing storm. Conversations buzzed around her, a tide of uncertainty swaying in the crowd. A myriad of thoughts raced through her mind. She couldn't afford to let this slip away. What if he changes his mind? She whispered to Jamie, panic creeping back in. What if he doesn't come back? Breathe, Rosa, Jamie urged, her eyes filled with determination. He won't walk away. He's curious. Just give him a minute. They both turned their heads in his direction, trying to catch snippets of the conversation. Lucas's brow furrowed, those moments stretching uncomfortably as he paced. Rosa could see the worry etched on his face, and that made her stomach twist further. Just then, he returned, clearing his throat and glancing at the crowd. Sorry about that. Business doesn't always wait for personal matters, he said, his voice a bit strained. I'd like to reconvene somewhere quieter to discuss the visit. Is that all right? Rosa nodded, feeling heat rise in her cheeks. Of course. Wherever you think is best. Let us meet after the event. Come find me, okay? He shot a quick smile her way, the lightness already lifting some of the tension. As Lucas moved back into the throng, Rosa felt an energizing current flow through her again. High spirits began to reignite within her, fueled by the possibility of what lay ahead. See? He's intrigued, Jamie said, nudging Rosa playfully. You've got this. Just be ready to show him what we're all about. Right. Rosa took a deep breath, firming her resolve. The next few hours passed in frantic flashes. Rosa smiled and engaged with potential donors, sharing snippets of her mission, all while rehearsing what she wanted to show Lucas during his visit. She scribbled notes, lost in a sea of ideas. Each thought seemed like a lifeline pulling her forward. Lessons learned, impacts made, lives transformed. Finally, as the event began to wind down, Rosa spotted Lucas leaning against the wall, his face thoughtful and intense. Gathering her courage, she approached him, her hands slightly trembling. Are we ready for the weekend? She asked, forcing brightness into her voice. Lucas straightened, and there was a spark in his eyes. Ready as ever. But hey, I need to warn you, my schedule is hectic. It's imperative we make every moment matter while I'm there. I understand, Rosa said, excitement tempered by the weight of responsibility. But I promise you, every moment will be worth it. I'll show you how deeply this community is engaged. You'll meet people whose lives have truly changed. Good. He began walking toward the exit with her. But it's also important that you and your team are prepared. This ISNTA vacation, I need to be impressed. Do you have strategies in place? Yes. We're organizing workshops, storytelling sessions, and hands-on activities. But I need your support, too, she admitted, vulnerability creeping into her voice. If we work together, we can make waves. Lucas nodded, thoughtful. It was a relief to see him engaged, the critical edge still present, but softened with curiosity. Then count me in. He stepped into the cool evening air outside, and Rosa could finally take a full breath, her hope igniting again. Yet, just as they were about to part ways, Lucas paused. Listen, Rosa, he said, a shadow flickering across his expression. I need to make something clear. There are challenges awaiting you at home. Sometimes, the stories we uncover are not as easy to digest as we hope. She swallowed hard. What could he mean? As she watched him drive off into the gathering dusk, the knot of apprehension twisted again in the depths of her heart. What awaited her and her community? Would their resilience prove enough against the oncoming tide of challenges? And as she stepped back into the warmth of the night, a question lingered in her mind. What profound truths would this weekend reveal that they hadn't prepared for? Rosa couldn't shake the weight of Lucas's words as she walked back into the bustling room. It felt as if they echoed in her ears, swirling together with the sounds of laughter and clinking glasses. She tried to focus on the relief she had felt moments before, the fractional hope blossoming in the depths of her heart, but that nagging apprehension kept pushing its way back into her mind. Hey! Earth to Rosa! Jamie's voice broke through her spiral of thoughts. What's wrong? Rosa blinked, shaking her head slightly. I don't know what he meant by challenges. Maybe he's just trying to gauge my reaction, you know? Jamie frowned, crossing her arms over her chest. Or maybe he knows something you don't. Either way, there's no use worrying about it now. You need to get some rest before the weekend. You've got a big job ahead. Right. Rosa sighed, forcing a smile. I'll try to get some sleep. Just all of this is so important. She gestured around her at the crowded venue, the vibrant decorations, the hopeful faces of the people who had come to support her dream. As the night wore on, Rosa found herself lost in mingling with friends and well-wishers. Each person brought warmth to her heart, and gave her hope that they could succeed together. She moved with a renewed sense of purpose, answering questions and sharing stories. Yet, with each laugh, a part of her remained on edge, anticipating the unknown that lay ahead. Finally, after the last guest had left and the lights dimmed, she found herself alone, staring at the remnants of the celebration. With the silence overhead, she couldn't help but wonder if Lucas's visit would turn into a beautiful partnership, or if it would reveal cracks beneath her dream. The next morning arrived faster than Rosa expected. She woke up feeling a mix of anticipation and dread, a tempest brewing in her chest. Today would be pivotal, and she needed to keep everything on track despite any lurking uncertainties. When she arrived at the community center, preparations were underway. Excited faces adorned the gathering, filling her with a surge of energy. Together, they set up learning stations, each dedicated to different aspects of the workshops planned for Lucas's visit. As the hours passed, the excitement in the air grew palpable, igniting her own spirits. Amidst this bustle, a lady caught her attention, someone she hadn't met yet. The woman moved with quiet determination, setting up a booth adorned with handmade crafts. There was an elegance about her, and Rosa felt drawn to her. As she approached, the lady looked up, her eyes sparkling with stories just waiting to be shared. Hello? I'm Rosa, she greeted, her heart racing at the prospect of another connection. Nice to meet you, Rosa. I'm Elena. I make these crafts with the kids, she replied, her voice soft yet firm. It's been one of the best experiences of my life. Rosa's heart warmed. That's wonderful. You'll have to show Lucas how engaged the kids are. He needs to see your passion. Elena chuckled lightly, a shadow crossing her face. As long as he can handle the truth when we dig deeper. This community is strong, but we also face so many struggles. Rosa felt her pulse quicken again. The words hung between them, heavy with meaning. You think Lucas will handle the truth? Elena shrugged thoughtfully. The truth is what brings change, but it isn't always easy to face. Just then, Rosa caught sight of Jamie waving her over. The wave was full of urgency, a spark of fear lighting her eyes as she stood near the entrance. Rosa's heart dropped. What now? As she moved toward Jamie, that same knot of dread returned. Whatever news Jamie carried, it was critical. Rosa, Jamie began, a tremor in her voice. You need to hear this. Rosa braced herself, feeling the ground shift beneath her. What revelation awaited her now? Rosa felt a chill run down her spine as Jamie stepped closer, her eyes wide with urgency. They cancelled the workshop, Jamie blurted out, her voice barely above a whisper. What? What do you mean? Rosa grappled with the sudden shock. Her heart raced, absorption of Jamie's words thickening the air around her. Jamie bit her lip, nodding slowly as if wrestling with her own disbelief. Lucas's team. They just called. Apparently, something came up, and he wouldn't be able to make it. Rosa clenched her fists, her breath hitching in her throat. The world around her blurred, the colors of the crowd fading as panic washed over her. This was everything she had worked for, everything she had hoped would lead her community to a brighter future. No. There has to be a mistake. We planned too much. This wasn't just some chance meeting. I know, Jamie said, moving closer, her voice more soothing now. But no buts, Jamie. This is a disaster. Rosa tried to sound strong, but the tremor of fear seeped through. She glanced towards Elena, who watched from her booth, worry etched on her face. Here stood women with courage and dreams, and Rosa felt her own slipping from her fingers. Taking a deep breath, she turned back to Jamie, urgency rising in her chest. What if we go on without him? Show him what we can do with what we have. Jamie's eyes flickered with uncertainty. You mean the workshops? Just us? Yes. We can showcase what this community really is. It's about all of us, right? Not just him. So many people had poured their hearts into this. Every setup, every project represented hope. She couldn't let it fade with one cancellation. But Rosa, please, Jamie. I need you to believe in it. If we stand up now, there might still be a chance for him to see how truly special this place is. The thought ignited a fire in her chest, pushing away the despair. Jamie's brow furrowed as she waited, but the resolve in Rosa's voice began to chip away at her doubt. Okay. You're right. Let's do this. Relief flooded through Rosa, a smile breaking across her face. Just then, a distant sound cut through the buzz of conversation, an engine revving outside, louder than the rest. The front doors swung open, letting in a cold wind that made everyone turn. With it came the glimmer of a sleek black car, parking right outside. Rosa's heart raced again. Could it be? She moved closer, curiosity overpowering her need to prepare. As the driver's door swung open, a familiar figure stepped out. Clarity mixed with disbelief as she recognized Lucas in that moment. Wait, Jamie whispered. Is that? Yes. Rosa couldn't help but laugh, a wild mix of anxiety and joy flooding her. But why is he here? Lucas took strides toward the entrance, his expression unreadable. Rosa's mind raced. She could either turn and retreat, pretend she wasn't there, or face whatever was coming. She steadied her breath, determination gripping her as she stepped forward. Lucas! As he neared, a glimmer of excitement lit in his eyes. Rosa, he said with a hint of urgency, I need to talk to you. I learned something important. Her heart thudded in her chest. What could he possibly reveal to change everything they had prepared? Okay, she said, her heartbeat echoing in her ears. What is it? His gaze was serious, and his words would either tear her down or lift her higher. In that moment, the fate of her dreams hung in the balance. Little did she know, the revelation that awaited her would change everything. Rosa held her breath, her eyes locked onto Lucas as he took another step closer. The world around them faded, leaving only the tension between them. "What is it?" she pressed, her voice a tremor of hope mingled with fear. Lucas glanced back at the onlookers who had begun to gather around them, their anticipation palpable. He turned back to Rosa, pulling her aside slightly out of earshot. "I know you're in a tough spot with the cancellation," he began, his voice low. "But after talking to my team, I realized something. We have an opportunity here." "What opportunity?" Her heart raced. Every word felt loaded with possibility. "If we can showcase your community's projects without me, it might actually work out better," he replied quickly. "I was going to lead the workshop, but seeing your determination, I thought maybe we just have to flip the script." Rosa felt a surge of adrenaline flushing through her body. "You mean we focus on us, not you? Show what we can do?" "Exactly." His eyes brightened. "Imagine the momentum it could build. It's not just about having an expert on stage, it's about putting the spotlight on the community." Rosa's heart fluttered. "Do you really think that would work?" "Absolutely. This moment is your chance, a real chance to show how passionate and resourceful you all are. I want to help." Rosa shook her head in disbelief, a wide grin creeping onto her face. "You're serious? You'd really support us?" "Yes. I'll even invite the press to cover it. They need to see what this community is capable of." Just then, Jamie approached cautiously, glancing between Rosa and Lucas. "What's happening?" she asked, her voice a mix of excitement and wariness. Rosa looked at Jamie, a glimmer of hope igniting in her chest. "We can still go on without him leading it. We can showcase our work. It's ours to own." Jamie's lips curved into a hesitant smile, but concern lingered in her eyes. "But what if it doesn't work out as planned? Or what if it does?" Lucas interjected, confidence seeping into his tone. "You'll have a chance to shine. And I'll be right there cheering you on. It might surprise everyone." Rosa felt the weight of that possibility settling on her shoulders. This could be at the moment she had dreamt of. But lurking in the back of her mind was an unsettling thought: what if they failed? What if she couldn't pull it off? A nervous energy flowed through her. She was standing on the edge of something monumental. "Okay," she said, a mixture of determination and doubt dancing in her voice. "Let us do this. We'll showcase our efforts and the strength of our community." The crowd around them buzzed with anticipation, a wave of voices blending together as murmurs of approval began to rise. "Let us get to work then." Lucas clapped his hands together, a grin spreading across his face. "We've got a lot to prepare." As everyone sprang into motion, Rosa moved away from Lucas and Jamie for a moment, gathering her thoughts. She could feel the adrenaline surging as excitement and fear coalesced into an overwhelming need to prove herself. But just in that moment of clarity, her phone buzzed in her pocket. It was a message from Elena, the organizer. "You won't believe what just happened. I have news about the sponsorships." Rosa's stomach knotted with anxiety. She opened the message, and as she read it, everything inside her froze. What news could change their plans again? She glanced back at Lucas and Jamie, who were already brainstorming ideas, and her heart pounded. This could be either the breakthrough they desperately needed or yet another twist in an already tangled story. With every fiber in her being, she braced herself for whatever came next. Rosa felt a wave of dizziness wash over her as she absorbed Elena's message. The words swirled in her mind, battling the hope that had just begun to bloom. She closed her eyes for a moment, trying to steady her racing heart. The excitement of the moment felt suddenly fragile, as if it could shatter under the weight of any bad news. "What is it?" Jamie's voice broke through her thoughts. She looked up to find Jamie studying her face, concern etched deeply across her brow. Rosa hesitated. Did she dare share what she had just read? Would it change the spark of determination they had ignited? But the truth lingered on her lips, a half-formed whisper begging to break free. "Elena, she has news. About the sponsorships." "What about them?" Lucas stepped forward, curiosity in his eyes. Rosa gulped, feeling the weight of the responsibility settle on her shoulders. They might have fallen through. A hushed silence enveloped the group as her words sank in. Lucas's brows furrowed, and Jamie's mouth opened slightly in disbelief. No, Jamie breathed, shaking her head. Not after everything we just talked about. Rosa glanced back at her phone, the screen offering no comfort. But this could change everything. It doesn't just affect us. It affects the workshop. The community. Lucas stepped closer, dropping his voice to a soothing tone. Rosa, let us not jump to conclusions. We don't know the full story yet. We can figure this out together. You don't understand. We were finally getting our chance. Tears prickled at the corners of her eyes, uninvited and unwelcome. She couldn't appear weak now, not when they had so much to gain, so much to fight for. Jamie placed a hand on Rosa's shoulder. Okay, we take a breath. We regroup. We'll hold a meeting and go over every detail. We won't let this slip away without a fight. Lucas nodded firmly. Exactly. If there's a chance, we have to exploit that. You've got this, Rosa. This community deserves to be heard. You can make it happen. Rosa closed her eyes, taking in their unwavering support. You really believe that? More than anything, Lucas stated, meeting her gaze with an intensity that grounded her. Just then, Rosa's phone buzzed again. She glanced at the screen, her heart racing. Another message. It's Elena again. She opened it and read aloud. I think there might be another angle we can explore. Call me when you can. What does that mean? Jamie asked, brows knitted tight. I don't know, Rosa said, her pulse quickening with curiosity and worry. But it sounds like there's more to the story. With a deep breath, she forced herself to focus. Okay, let us set a plan. We meet in 30. We review everything we have. I'll call Elena and figure out what she means. As they broke away, tasks swirling around them, a renewed energy pulsed through the air. Rosa felt both exhilarated and terrified. Could they turn this around? Could they still make an impact? Minutes later, as she frantically tried to connect with Elena, her fingers tapped against the screen while her mind whirled with possibilities. It was daunting but also impossibly thrilling. Then the phone rang, and Rosa felt a mix of hope and dread. She answered quickly, Elena. It's Rosa. I just read your last message. What's going on? On the other end, Elena's voice was steady yet urgent. Rosa, I need you to listen closely. There's something you don't know, something crucial about the sponsorships that could change everything. Rosa's heart raced as she leaned in, the world around her fading away again. What hidden truth was lurking just beneath the surface? Could this be the breakthrough they needed, or yet another hurdle? She couldn't shake the feeling that this conversation would either ignite a fire or douse any remaining flames of hope. As she listened intently, the next revelation could redefine everything. Rosa held her breath, her heart pounding in her chest, as she listened to Elena's voice, each word a fragile thread weaving through the fabric of her anxiety. Rosa, the sponsorships they were reconsidered, and there's a new potential backer who's interested. Her eyes widened, hope blooming like a wildflower. What? You mean we have a shot? Rosa stuttered, disbelief wrapping around her like a warm blanket. Yes. But here's the catch, Elena continued, urgency lacing her tone. They want to see the community in action. They want proof that this initiative can truly make a difference. If you want their support, you must show them how alive and united your community really is. Rosa felt a mix of excitement and terror. We can do that. We must. When can we set this up? Soon, very soon. You need to mobilize everyone. Get them engaged, show them what you're fighting for. It's your moment, Rosa. I'm on it. The determination coursed through her veins. The call ended, and she felt dizzy with possibility. This was what they needed, this was their chance to shine. Jamie! Lucas! She called, her voice crackling with energy as she rushed back to them. Elena has news. We have a new chance. They both turned, concern etched in their features. What is happening? Lucas asked. The sponsorships might still be there, but we have to show real engagement. Her words burst forth, fueled by adrenaline. We need workshops, demonstrations, everything. This community deserves this. Let us make it happen. Jamie's eyes lit up with a spark of understanding. Then let us set up an exhibition. We can showcase crafts, storytelling sessions, and emphasize what the community has achieved. Lucas nodded, looking inspired. I'll rally support from my contacts. Let us make sure we have media coverage. This could be huge. Every voice matters, Rosa echoed, infinite gratitude filling her heart. I won't let this slip away. We'll stand together. As the three of them traced plans, excitement danced in the air like music. They divided tasks swiftly, laughter bubbling up as they wove hope into their ambitious tapestry. From reaching out to local artisans to organizing food drives, every detail mattered. Outside, the world brightened. The sun peeked through gray clouds, wrapping the day in a golden glow, emblematic of their mission. Rosa felt invigorated, energy pulsating in her veins with each heartbeat, knowing that every moment stripped away doubt like autumn leaves exposing the branches the raw and beautiful truths of their fight. The next few days flew, and word of their initiative spread like wildfire. People joined forces, their spirits igniting a collective heartbeat that reverberated through the halls of community centers and into homes. On the day of the showcase, a feeling of unity enveloped her, like a warm embrace. They were their families, children, and supporters, each heart racing with anticipation. The showcase unfolded beautifully. Tables overflowed with colorful crafts created by the community, laughter echoed, and stories emerged, shared between strangers and friends alike. Rosa took her place at the center, an anchor amidst the whirlwind of joyful chaos, the pride swelling in her chest. When the new sponsor arrived, he stepped into the vibrancy with an air of curiosity, taking in the sights and sounds with wide eyes. Rosa's heart raced as she shared the vision that had blossomed within these walls, her voice steady now, clear and loud. This is us. This is who we are. Together, we build strength and opportunity. Together, we overcome. The crowd's enthusiasm surged like a wave, undulating and vibrant, moving in sync with her words. The sponsor listened, captivated, and she felt the weight of the moment. This was their truth laid bare in all its messy beauty. At the end, as applause erupted, she spotted Lucas beaming at her from the corner, thumbs up, his approval worth more than gold. The sponsor, moved by the community's spirit, stepped forward. I'm impressed. Let us discuss how we can partner together. Rosa's heart soared, tears gleaming in her eyes. Not just for her fight, but for every soul that had come together. They had stood tall, refusing to hide. They had shared their reality and transformed it into something beautiful. They did it! They defied the odds. The night closed in with laughter and shared dreams, and as she looked around, the reality began to sink in. The community she had fought for was alive, vibrant, and pulsing with hope. Rosa turned to Jamie. We really did it, didn't we? Yeah, we did. And it's just the beginning, Jamie replied, her face glowing with pride. In that moment, surrounded by kindred spirits embracing their truth, Rosa realized something monumental. This was more than just a success. It was a transformation. They found strength in their stories, courage in their unity. They turned fear into fire and doubt into determination, and she knew, deep down, they would keep fighting. As the celebration carried them on waves of joy, Rosa took a breath, feeling gratitude wash over her. This is what hope looks like. This is what community feels like. This is where change begins. If you've made it this far, it's time to take action. You need to subscribe immediately to our channel to not miss the next exclusive stories that inspire transformation. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm. Your support matters. Comment your reactions and feelings about this ending. We want to hear from you. And don't wait not even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Let us spread the hope.